Phillies are now 20 games over 500. 20 games. And it's only May 20th. Is it is it necessary that the Phillies win a World Series this year and the Eagles win a Super Bowl this year to pay off, to justify the hype? Who wins it first? Who's more likely and set up to win that title? We're going to talk all about the Eagles and the Phillies and expectations and what is a realistic expectation for these teams today. Train the AM is live, taking your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We are live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You know the drill. Like this video, share this video out, or retweet it, depending on where you're watching. Hit that subscribe and follow button, whatever platform you're on. But most importantly, just tell a friend. Tell a friend to get in the conversation of the number one morning show in Philadelphia, the best damn sports show there is on YouTube, and I don't throw that around lightly like some other people do. And the only show where your opinions actually matter. That's right. If you're new to the show, this show is about you, the people, you, the listener. Your opinions drive this show, not me. I am the host, Phil Stiefel. You can find me on all social media platforms from there. You can find me at Beard of Knowledge. I greatly appreciate that. And we got lots to get into today. It's Monday morning. It's Overreaction Monday. So since it's Overreaction Monday, who's winning the title first? The Philadelphia Phillies, who are now 20 games over 500, or our Philadelphia Eagles, who have a very easy schedule and have had a freaking great kick-ass offseason and have a pretty easy schedule, as we saw released late last week. Friday's show was going to go sort of in this direction, but the breaking Scotty Scheffler being arrested news kind of dominated the Friday show for a bit, and we'll catch up on golf talk tomorrow night because I know you guys just hate me talking golf on this show. We'll talk golf, Jason and I, and our guest Steve from EOP this week on Tuesday night's Fairway to Heaven. But I'm asking you, who's winning the title first, the Phillies or the Eagles? Are the expectations? Is it Super Bowl or bust for our Eagles? Is it World Series or bust for our Phillies? Right to the comments. Good morning, Adam. How are you this morning? Hope you had a great weekend. You have vision. You see me, right? The Nuggets game. Oh my God, I did write a few things down about basketball. Nuggets blowing that game last night. Who cares? I guess. I mean, the NBA season's over now. That the Knicks are out of it. The Nuggets are out of it. I mean, it's Dallas versus OKC, or Dallas versus Minnesota, and the Celtics versus the Pacers. The NBA ratings are going to see a slight dip for the final run of the playoffs here. Good morning, Philadelphia. Good morning, Brett. How you doing today? Hope you had a nice weekend. In the last 32 games, the Phillies are 26-6. Only has happened twice in team history, 1895 and 1976. Damn. I was alive in 1895, right? Yeah, sure. I'm looking at a couple other things. First time we're 20 games over 500 since at this point of the season since 1993. I've been drawing parallels for a few weeks now on Twitter and occasionally on this show about the 93 Phillies in this team. Just the utter dominance right out of the gate. Still, we lost the first 2 games of the season. Since then, we have only had a losing streak one time. We're talking 7, 8 weeks into the season. We are talking, 46 games into the season. We have only lost 2 games in a row 2 times. The opening 2 games and then against Cincinnati about a month ago. Just let that sink in with this Phillies team. And that's why I'm putting World Series or bust potential on their name. Xander, I'm going to cuss the hell out Xander on Tuesday night, K1. I bet Xander big time last week. He blows it on Sunday. I want to bet him this week, but I pass over him and bet Bryson, and Xander does not collapse on Sunday for my Bryson win. I just cannot win in golf. I'm having the worst golf season of my life. Good morning, Joe. How you doing today? What a way to wake up this morning. Phillies sweep, Braves lose. Yeah, the Braves lose. That's always great. We got a full 5-game lead on the Braves, Joe. Knicks lose, and everyone's making excuses while they're injured. Well, maybe they shouldn't have been playing a 7-man rotation. And Nuggets lose, and a guy I like wins the PGA Championship. The guy I like came in second in Bryson, so a little bitter. Definitely. TJ McConnell versus Drew Holiday. That's a ratings juggernaut there. Hey, you know what, though? Mitchie Poo, good morning, my man. You know what's unfortunate is that that TJ McConnell's still playing. I love TJ McConnell. And there's been some love floating around social media because of the way he played in this Knicks series. He actually, just think about this. TJ McConnell came out of college, Arizona, I believe, with next to no fanfare. Was part of the process era Sixers. Really was not a good basketball player. Hell, if you remember his rookie year in Philly, he went to Xfinity Live after a Sixers game, and they wouldn't let him in the door because he didn't have an ID, and nobody at the door knew who he was. And he's like, I played for the Sixers, and they're like, no, we don't know that. We think you're lying. But that story is actually real to where he is now, which is such a vital point of a team that's on a deep playoff run. Hats off to TJ McConnell. Phillies, best consistency of what the team don't have to do with a major fix like the defense on the Eagles, and 3 greater starting pitchers. So is this who's going to win it first? Phillies are going to win it first, according to Brett. I mean, hypothetically speaking, the Phillies have the best chance to win it first because their season will complete it before the Eagles' season's even halfway over. They are consistent. Now, the things that have made the Phillies consistent, how much of it is sustainable? The Phillies pitching. How sustainable is the Phillies pitching? The offense, I think, is sustainable. Because the Phillies offense hasn't even clicked on all cylinders yet. Every other minute you look, somebody's having a off week. Trey Turner is still out, which it looks like his injury is going to have him back sooner than he expected, which is great because you definitely want him back sooner than later, which is good for the offense. But how often is Cody? I think Cody Clemens has done this before. Everyone's all on the Cody Clemens hype train, and it's great to see. But he's had great little bursts before, and then everyone hypes him up, and then he goes back to being Cody Clemens. You know, I saw my man Adam Mack, who's been on the show before, a good friend of mine, covers the Phillies, and he wrote something down. Jeff Hoffman, Sosa, Clemens, Strom, that while Dave Dombrowski gets a lot of credit for his building of the superstar team the Phillies have, he's really nailed some of the peripheral moves as well. The ancillary moves of the Phillies have worked out extremely well over the years, the last year or so. And it's very similar to 08. Getting guys off the scrap heap leading into the 08 season worked out well for the Phillies. Just like Pat Gillick did it, Dave Dombrowski did it. Just like that Phillies team had Hall of Famer Pat Gillick, this Phillies team has Hall of Famer Dave Dombrowski. So you got to give him credit for some of the moves that are filling in during this down period for some players. It's hard to pick the Phillies or Eagles since they both got great teams. It is tough to pick who's going to win first, Adam. I get that. They both got great teams, and they both have clear paths. And I think the path is very important. The Eagles' schedule, extremely, extremely enticing. The Phillies' schedule on the flip side will get tougher. We will play the Braves more. We will play the Dodgers again. Now, I'm not sure if we play the Yankees or not, the only team close to us in record. I know we're going to play Baltimore. I know all that, but they're taking care of business now. We can sustain a 3 or 4 game losing streak a month from now because we haven't had one in a month. We've only had 2 all year long. So the path is there for both teams. I think if you had to say who winning is it more important for? Is it more important for the Phillies to win it or the Eagles to win it to justify the teams that have been built? I think is a very interesting way to phrase the question. If we are talking 93, who is the crook of the current Phillies team? Yeah, Schwarber's probably the crookie. I try to figure out who's the Dykstra and who's the Dalton. Dykstra was the a-hole in your face guy. Dalton was the guy that you were scared to be pulled into the cleaning room with to be talked to. Like Dalton was like the quiet leader, but then would pull you aside. And he was like the disappointed dad. And you didn't want to disappoint Darren Dalton. You didn't want to get pulled aside by Darren Dalton. Dykstra was the fiery personality. And I got questioned for that analogy by Mark Perner, who was on the show last week. And it's more because of the domination from day one. Nobody expected them to be this good. That is where I draw the parallel. And there are lots of personalities, different personalities, but a lot of personalities on both teams. Pacers versus Mavs. I'd like to see the Mavs make it because I would love to see Luka Doncic get a chance at a title. And the Pacers, because Halliburton should have been a Sixer all along. So I'd be down with that. The NBA ratings would tank like crazy, but that's about it. Waiting for the Nova tweet. Yeah. Nova Nation's going to care about the Sixers again. Now the Knicks are done, right, Big Al? And I've been called out so many times, especially by my man Mark Moscatelli, who sometimes watches on Monday. But because, Nova's a bunch of fugazis after those tweets against the Sixers. But you know what? Screw them. Nova's dead to me. I'm all in on Temple basketball from here on out, or Drexel Dragons, or hell, I'll even root for LaSalle. DC Defenders, who cares? Good morning, Edge of Philly. Good morning, Charles. How you doing today? Good to see you. We're talking Phillies. We're talking Eagles. PGA Championship, whatever you want to talk about. NBA playoffs. Watching, I got the highlights are right on behind me. The Pacers beating up on those New York Nova Nation Knickerbockers. Rest in peace, Jamato. I did not see that. I must have missed that, unless it just broke the news. Phillies have less questions than the Eagles. That's an interesting way. See, Big Al's helping me here. More questions. Phillies or Eagles. That could be another title of a show this week, Big Al. You didn't even know it. Your comment just created another title for later this week. Gotta love it. That's what I do. I like it. But that's a great question. Who has more question marks on them? And so I think it's a hard question to answer. I almost would disagree and say the Phillies have more questions. The Phillies bullpen still scares me at times. I don't know if we can expect Chris Sanchez and these guys to pitch like they are long term outside of the big three. I don't know if you can expect some of these guys to keep up at the pace that they're playing at on the Phillies. The Eagles, on the other hand, I don't know. I feel like the question marks on the Eagles are Nick Sirianni as a cheerleader and the secondary on them. Outside of that, I don't know. But you helped out Nick Sirianni by bringing in great coordinators, and you helped out that secondary in the draft. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit closer than you're saying. Phillies versus Dodgers in the NLCS. Ohtani is going to be smacking balls all the way to Broad Street. Man. Ohtani, man. He's like a machine. I haven't looked at his stats in the last week, but the dude has this massive gambling scandal. Shakes it off. It gets dusted under the rug. Does not get distracted one iota. He's recovering from Tommy John surgery, just hitting like 600 batting average, a 4,000 OPS, and probably he's got about 50 home runs by now. Like, it's insane what Ohtani's doing. But that would be a hell of a series. It would be annoying as hell with the time zone changes back and forth, East Coast to West Coast. But damn, we might have to edit the start time of some trending in the AMs if there's West Coast games during the playoffs. My man John, how you doing this morning? Go Phils. And I hope you have a great day as well, John. Phillies, it's more important just because I think Bryce's legacy goes way up with a championship. Legacy is important, Brett. It really is for players. I would say if you want to put a legacy on it, the Sixers winning first is the most important. Because Joel Embiid's legacy, because Joel Embiid might only have a couple years left. Bryce Harper is still going to be playing here in Philly in 8-9 years, so he's got 8 or 9 years to do it. Jalen Hurts' legacy might be higher on the importance level than Bryce's. Because while Jalen Hurts is still young, the NFL, not for long, he might not be here in 10 years. So I don't know. I don't know if the legacy of Bryce Harper bumps it up there. I think it's a great point. I just don't know if I agree with it entirely. We play the Yankees the 29th, 30th, and 31st, end of July. All right. So that'll be a big test there. You also didn't want to get pulled into a talk with Dutch because he would go off about you. Yeah. Darren Dalton had some interesting thoughts in his mind on a regular basis, for sure. I lean towards the Eagles. Baseball gets a bit up in the air come October. Injuries, flukes, time off, etc. Blaze best record last year and got bounced. Yes, football, barring an injury, a bit more consistent. That is a very fair point, Joe, for sure. I will say that with the Braves part of it, though, that the Braves were built for the regular season, not the playoffs, and that's all that is. The Braves are just, it's always exciting when the Braves collapse, for sure. Good morning, Teresa. Hope you're well. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Vlade Divac. There's a name. Is he still an executive in the NBA? No way Kruk was batting over 300. Schwarber can't hit like a Kruk, like the Krukster. Different players. I was more comparing it to the personalities, body types, the energy level, the sarcasm, the grin. That's where the similarities are there. Schwarber's a home run or bust guy. Kruk was a 300 hitter. I still love, I'll back to that in a second. I still love the fact that Krucker, what was it, with the White Sox, got a hit and walked off the field just so his average, so he could retire with that 300 average. I love that. It's a great story. And John Kruk on David Letterman, if you've never seen that from back when he was with the Phillies. John Kruk in that movie with Wesley Snipes, Dustin Hoffman. There was a baseball movie. Is it called The Fan? I want to say it was called The Fan, but the Krucker played in that movie. Krucker was a personality, that's for sure. Phil's still feasting on self-schedule. You can only beat the teams in front of you, though, K1. The criticism for the schedule or the questioning of the Phillies because of the schedule, I think is bogus. They've had easy schedules before, and they haven't feasted on it. So saying the Phillies are just beating easy teams, well, that's what great teams do. They beat the bad teams. We talk about this with the Eagles all the time. You got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat and then see how you do against the tough teams. They're beating up on every bad team. And that's how you build yourself enough of a cushion. Are the Phillies going to, the Phillies are now on pace now after this weekend, I think, to set the record maybe. They might be on pace now to set the wins record. I don't know. Let me pull up their record real quick and do some mathematician stuff on my calculator on my phone here. I want to say we're doing live calculations right here. Calculator. MLB standings. So 162 times 0.708 means, okay, so they're on pace for 115 wins right now. So I don't think that's the record. I think 116 or 118 is the record. But they're basically on pace to be the best team, one of the best teams of all time, win-loss record-wise. All right? So that's what those kind of teams do. So I think the schedule conversation is a bit bogus, in my opinion. Sixers have more questions than every team in Philly. That's right, for sure. I'm trying to avoid Sixers talk a little bit. Got trapped talking Sixers already on Twitter today. I'm saying Jimmy Butler. Someone told me Jimmy Butler would be the answer, and I said no. John Kruk holds the bat weird. Eagles secondary, just because it's rookies, defensive line, and linebacking core, all questions. That's fair. All right, guys, I got to pay some bills here real quick. We'll get back to the comments in a second. Great moments don't just happen. They happen with you in the crowd. SharkyTickets.com is the place to go. No hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less, play more. SharkyTickets.com. You can get the tickets you want and get a bigger savings. Not just no hidden fees. Exclusive promo code EOP10 at checkout gets you an extra 10% off. Why use any other ticket reseller? Why go to those other places? Call them if you need a personal touch. 610-494-5050 or just go to SharkyTickets.com. EOP10 promo code. And if you call them at their personal number, 610-494-5050, make sure you let them know EOP and Trending in the AM sent you. Again, SharkyTickets.com for all your ticket needs. And I left Brett's comment up over the head read the entire time. Thoughts on the Oakland A's closer, Mason Miller trade talks. I've heard Mason Miller's name float around. And see, here's the thing. So I haven't looked into the details of this. I don't know what his age and contract situation is. Okay. So that would play into a factor on what I'd be willing to trade. I said it before the season, and I'll say it now. This team needs a closer. They do. You don't pay a big closer until you're on the cusp of winning a World Series. The Phillies are on the cusp of winning a World Series, so you go get yourself Mason Miller. My thought process before the season started for the Phillies was I was hoping Sir Dominguez can return to 2022 level. And if he did, he could be the closer. Because Alvarado, I think, is the perfect high leverage situation guy that Rob Thompson likes to use to get those key outs. I don't want Jose Alvarado as my closer. Jeff Hoffman has done well at times in that spot. Orion Kirkring is too young for that spot and moment, in my opinion. So go out and get the best closer available on the market. And if you got to overpay, do it. Lock that bullpen down. I'd be all on board for it. If he's the best closer available, he's the guy I'm getting. 76ers letting TJ walk to Pacers. Yeah, we need that TJ McConnell back on here for sure. Schwarber would be the guy in the All-Star game to butt right. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Love that. That's a great Crucker memory right there. If Eagles won first, it would put a lot of hate off of Hurts. Yeah, so maybe not the legacy. I still, Adam, feel that if Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl, the next day on, what am I watching? Get Up. It'd be like, the headline would be, Jalen Hurts wins his first Super Bowl because of the talent around him. Oh, my God. Farley playing Truck was freaking, well, Chris Farley being himself was hilarious. But yes, Farley as Truck on SNL. I mean, that was during the golden age of SNL. The Fan, that's what that movie was called. De Niro and Snipes. Why did I say? I didn't say De Niro. I was right on Snipes. I was wrong on the bad guy. De Niro was the bad guy in that movie, and Kruk was in it. That's right. The Kruk movie was The Fan. You're right. God, see, I'm really far behind on comments now. Everyone brings up beating easy teams as if that's a bad thing. So you want Jalen and Joel to struggle against the, yeah. I'm more confident. Yeah, I'd rather be winning these games. We built up the 10-1 record last year for the Eagles, being up on the easier schedule, and then we went 500 and we start losing against the tougher games. You got to win the games that are in front of you, and you got to win against the teams that you're supposed to win. Sherry, a baby Sherry. We had an entire show about Eagles schedule. The Phil's schedule talk is bogus. I agree. I think it's bogus talk. And I know that's not what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. But it's different. You have to have a show breaking down the schedule for the Eagles. That's what everybody does. Sherry's Tickets is greater than twice. Everybody. Are we back on this? I said, Mitchie, I'm trying to stay off Sixers talk. Tobias Harris is no longer a Sixer. Let's move on. Phil's golf bets are great. I don't know about that. My golf bets suck arse. I had 3 of the top 5 golfers in the standings yesterday. And obviously one of those 3 did not win. Tough. I can't win in golf right now. Yeah, leaving your comments up for the ad reads. Absolutely. Yeah, didn't he lose Tyson Fury? I don't know. I'm not a boxing fan anymore. I think I did read a headline that he was pissed at the decision, made some comment about the Ukraine, I guess, or something like that. I don't even know. Chris Farley was the GOAT for sure. Jalen win because he has a great team, yet somehow think Purdy is an engine. Exactly, Brett. Exactly. All right, I'm taking your thing down for the next ad read. Guys, PhillySportsTrips.com. If you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best, PhillySportsTrips.com. If you want to travel with the pros, then go with them. They feature premium travel. I'm off my game day. They feature premium travel and tailgating experiences for the best fans ever. Us, the Philadelphia sports fans. Self-travel packages, full travel packages, round-trip flights, bus trips, Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, you name it, they got it. So go to PhillySportsTrips.com. Make sure you let them know EOP sent you. Make sure you let them know you heard about them on Trending in the AM. And going week 1 to Brazil couldn't be any easier than with PhillySportsTrips.com. They got a full package if you want to go cheer on our Eagles without wearing green to take on the Green Bay Packers week 1. They also got bus trips and trips to see our Phillies in Boston this summer, a day trip to Baltimore to see our Phillies play, out to Wrigley Field for the 4th of July. PhillySportsTrips.com, ultimate trip experience from them. Guys, why you got to travel with the best. Travel with PhillySportsTrips.com. Back to the comments here. You'll think the Flyers win before the Sixers. Well, I saw some rumors on our Flyers, and Quinyon, I know Quinyon follows the Flyers a lot too. Are these rumors that the Russian may be here to start the next season? Are these rumors valid? Because I this weekend, there were more rumors and more news about the Flyers and the kid coming over here than I've heard in a few weeks. If you had to put like a 1 to 10 ranking that the kid gets here, I'd like to know. Because if he comes here, Flyers are going to be the talk of the town on this show again. Now, I don't know if the Flyers are ready to win a title anytime soon. And if the Sixers don't win a title in the next year or so, they're not going to win a title for the next 20 years. So the Sixers have a 1 or 2 year window left to win their title. Flyers are just entering their window when the kid gets here. So I don't know. So maybe the Flyers have a better chance. The Sixers better win one before the Flyers, but the Flyers might be in a better position than the Sixers at this point. And that's just me being honest. You know, when have I ever not been honest? I don't know. Brah. Well, I don't even know what that's in reference to. Brazil. Oh, Brazil. That's what you're saying. Oh, yeah. You had to do bra and then zeal. You had to do two things there. I got you, dude. Schauffele really took away your A game, dude. Sanders. I'm still bitter over Sanders. I didn't have coffee this morning. I bought my wife an espresso maker. She made me a peanut butter latte, which I've been bragging about that I had down in Key West for Christmas. Since we had it, and she made it. It was great, but it just wasn't enough. So we're gonna switch to the orange juice. Get my vitamins in. But Xander did annoy the living hell out of me yesterday. There is a chart with all the wide receivers in the league in separation. Smith and AJ were at the top. AJ Brown and Devonta Smith may be the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. And I really truly believe that. That is not Homer-ish talking from me. AJ Brown, Devonta Smith may be the 2 best wide receivers on the same team in the NFL. 5-10. Yeah, I'm butchering it. I think last Monday I was off my game too. I don't know what I'm doing on Sundays. No one complained about the Patriots when they won 6 games a year against the worst division in the league. Yeah. But yet, because we're beating up on teams we're supposed to, Washington, the Mets, the Marlins, we're not that good. I mean, the Patriots did have a track record of success post beating those games. They did have titles. Phil, thoughts on Cody Clemens? I think he deserves a spot in this team. Rojas needs to go back to the minors to get better at the plate. You know, John, I've seen a few people put this out onto the intraweb world wide internet, and I just don't know. Is Cody Clemens, is Johan Rojas in need of a minor league stint? Maybe. Maybe not. Is Cody Clemens, give me a second here. Let me pull this exact thing I want up. Give me 1 second here to get exactly. I changed to something else on my side tab here. Is Cody Clemens really a 321 hitter with a 1.166 OPS? No. Okay. Cody Clemens is on a little hot stretch in a very small sample size. Cody Clemens is the perfect bench player on an average team. He might start on a bad team. But on a World Series team, he's a quadruple A player. He's not a starter. Does Rojas need more time? Sure. But Rojas, just 3 weeks ago, people were talking about how hot he was. Now Grady was playing. I think Rojas might need to take a backseat to Pache for a little bit, maybe. But should Cody Clemens stay on the bench while Trey Turner's out with his injury? Sure. But when Trey Turner comes back, and maybe sooner rather than later, I don't think I'm as convinced that Rojas is the one to send down over Cody Clemens. Maybe you do it. Maybe you don't. We'll see in 2 weeks. But to me, Clemens isn't going to move the needle big picture, if at all, when Trey Turner comes back. So I don't think it's a big deal. Under caffeinated Phil still's great. I don't know. You would think an espresso latte, whatever she made me, would caffeinate me a lot. You would think that caffeine would be kicking in, and maybe it's kicking in too much. I'm used to my 2 cups of coffee. I've had 1 espresso. I mean, 1 damn good espresso. We'll say that. Anyway, back to the ad reads, guys. If I'm going to butcher ad reads, then I'm going to call my man David Archeri for help and support. If you get hurt at work or in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, call our friend David Archeri of the Cherry Law Firm. He is here to fight for your rights and get you what you deserve. And, you know, when I butcher an ad read, he defends me in the court of law for butchering ad reads. A dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. You've been seriously injured in the state of Pennsylvania by the neglect of another, and if you have questions for a Westchester or media personal injury law firm, do not hesitate to call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David Archeri fight for your rights. Again, that's 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. I stuck that one a little early, a little premature for you guys. You guys weren't expecting it that. Good morning, Eric. How you doing? Stop with the yeet. What's with the yeet? So overrated. So overhyped. I needed a little boost in comments in the comment section. So I saved the Cherry ad read for when I need to boost up the comment section. Eric is here. Hey, I appreciate it. I butchered the first 2 ad reads, but I purposely butchered the first 2 ad reads to set up my 3rd ad read. See how I do that? See how I do it? Yeah, K1, we all let K1 down on a regular basis. But anyway, back to this conversation. Who's winning a title first? And I really think, and this might sound homerish, this might be the homerish sounding of it. There is a legit chance, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, whatever you want to call it, that we get back-to-back titles in Philadelphia. 1 in November, because it's out beginning of November when the World Series ends, right? Beginning of November, and then 1 again in February. Because I think the paths are there for, at the very least, to get to the World Series and Super Bowl. It almost sounds like to me that if both teams don't make their individual championship games, both, not one or the other, both, I have a feeling that this would be a disappointing season. And if the Phillies don't make the World Series, and it's not because of a massive injury, that would be a disappointment. If the Eagles don't get to the Super Bowl, it would be because of an injury or because of a major failure from someone on this team, which would make it a disappointment. That's all I'm going to say about that. Phil hasn't shown off the ink. I really can't show it off. It's very hard to do. You know what I'll do? I'll pull up the tweet from Saturday. It's very hard to see on this camera. So I can't get zoomed in and the angle. It's kind of this way. Give me a second. I took pictures of it and put it on Twitter. There we go. All right. Share screen. Let's put the new ink. Yes, I went to see my man Johnny Vega, State Street Tattoo this weekend. Here's my new Bubbles Up Jimmy Buffett tattoo on the back of my arm below my elbow. There's the other angle of it right there. Bubbles up to you all. There is my, I never actually put it on the screen. I'm changing the picture. I actually forgot to put the thing up there. There you go. Bubbles up. Bubbles up tattoo. There's angle 1. There's angle 2. As somebody said in the Twitter comments, I need to put some lotion on my elbow or something like that, supposedly. So we'll keep this angle up on the screen. My man's Johnny Vega at State Street Tattoo. Fantastic work. He's done 3 of my 5 tattoos. One of them was done by one of his coworkers. They do fantastic work. So I'll leave that up there for you to see. But yeah, Phil with the, I thought it said Trump stamp for a second from a distance. Funny story on the tramp stamp. We're at work and I have a couple new kids working for me. One, she's young. She's a freshman. She's 15. And she let me know that both her parents have tramp stamps, but she doesn't understand the word tramp stamp. And she doesn't know why people call it. And I said, well, hold on a second. Before I explain what a tramp stamp is, you mean your mom and your dad have tramp stamps? And she's like, yeah, my dad has a tramp stamp too, but I don't understand what the term means. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. Your father has a tramp stamp. And I sat there and I didn't even know how to respond to that. I had no clue how to respond to that. But yeah, there's my new tattoo. It's a shout out to a great song, Bubbles Up. One of the best gifts Jimmy Buffett gave us was his last gift. Fantastic song. Really gets me all the time. And just in general, if you zoom in on the picture, he put some really fancy JB initials in the fin. Gotta love it. I'm ecstatic with the way it came out right there. Maybe bring Clemens up when they extend the roster in September. I'm on the fence about Rojas, but I feel Phillies have a lot of interest in Tyler O'Neill outfield. I think he would be an upgrade in the outfield. Yeah, I've seen the O'Neill rumors as well, John. Just like the closing rumors with the Miller with the Athletics. Yeah, if you're serious about winning the World Series, right now the 2 biggest needs are to grab a closer, because a closer then bumps everyone else down a notch in the bullpen pecking order. You won't have to see Dominguez, who does have his ERA under 7 now, as much. And yeah, an outfielder, you don't want to have Pache. Why is my mic falling down on me? You don't want Pache and Rojas platooning in center field in the World Series. You just don't want that. So O'Neill might be, they're your 2 biggest needs on this team now, for sure. As long as it's not a bubble screen or a curl route. I thought about changing it to a curl route tattoo, but I figured that wouldn't make sense to most people, so passed on that idea. No, Bubbles Up. If you don't know the song, if you don't know the Bubbles Up song by Jimmy Buffett, I recommend go and listen to it. It's a really deep song. Again, my wife makes fun of me because when I first met my wife, I could care less about Jimmy Buffett. Honestly, I thought he was so overrated. Because hosting karaoke for almost 2 years on a cruise ship, I heard 4,000 people sing Margaritaville, and me have to go salt, salt, salt. I thought that's all Jimmy Buffett was. Then she took me to my first Jimmy Buffett concert. I was like, holy shit. He is so much more than just cheeseburgers and margaritas. So I dove deep, and a lot of his songs have very deep meanings to it. And Bubbles Up is one of them. So one of the best songs was his last song. Yeah, I need a Trump stamp now. Talk about building the algorithm. Just say the word Trump and the algorithm jumps, right? Get someone. That's the first comment was supposedly my elbows look a little dry. Not great tattoo or not shitty tattoo. It was your elbows look a little dry. I don't think I've ever moisturized my elbow, and honestly, my elbow feels pretty normal. I'm just saying. Where Brett's a physical therapist, but maybe he knows a little bit about it. Does my elbow look a little dry to you? Maybe it's an over 40 thing. My wife and kids randomly violate my elbows with lotion. Maybe. I don't know what it is. This show's turning into my elbows. Phil, is it better than Sweet Caroline Margarita? Oh my God. Sweet Caroline's another one as a karaoke host. I just hate it. You get this was old school. It might be digital now. We're talking early 2000s. Everyone's standing in their little slips of paper with the songs they want to sing. And you get a stack of them when you start hosting on a given night. And the first 7 you look at all say Sweet Caroline and Margaritaville. And you're just like, oh my God. Oh, shoot me now. It's tough. It's a tough job hosting karaoke on a cruise ship. And then you just do it the same thing every week with a new cast of characters that want to sing the same thing every single week. There are so many songs that have been ruined in my mind by being a karaoke host. My eyes aren't that good to see. Yeah. Neither are mine. I actually think I don't know what it looks bad, but I think it feels pretty good. It doesn't feel dry at all. There's no skin issues. I waited tables at a bar with a jukebox that had "Why Don't We Get Drunk and Screw." Now that's a great song, but that was not part of my karaoke list on a cruise ship. That I don't know how to phrase it. I don't think that song was acceptable to have on a karaoke list. I'd come up with some creative lyrics for that though. So good, so good, so good. So I'm gonna cry. So I'm gonna cry. So I'm gonna cry. Seems like Finn's "I Got You, Babe" would also be in the. No, honestly, not on karaoke nights. Not really. It was Margaritaville and cheeseburger for Jimmy Buffett. And yeah, "I Got You, Babe." Whenever I saw two people's names wanting to sing together, there's a 98% likelihood it was "I Got You, Babe." That or the Grease song when Danny Travolta and what's her name sing face like they're singing to each other. I got chills, they're multiplying, and I'm losing control. Cause the power. I don't remember the rest of the words. It's been a long time since I sang that song. But yeah, the pairings was "I Got You, Babe" or the Grease song. That was the guarantee. If a couple wanted to sing together. How do we get? Why are we talking karaoke here? Like where did this come from in the conversation? I don't know. I worked at a restaurant called Caroline's, and they played that song 6 times a night, at least. I'm surprised. I mean, that's probably why you don't work there anymore, right? Because that would drive me crazy. Like I would never work at a retail shop that starts playing Christmas music as soon as Halloween's over, basically. No one chose Muskrat Love. That was an occasionally maybe. You're the one that I want. That's ooh, 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 honey. Yeah, that song. My God. You think my singing's bad? Host karaoke for 2 years straight, and you hear some bad singing, and you got to get everybody to cheer for them. Getting people to cheer for the crappy singers, or the people that think they have a good voice and they stand there and they belt out like a Celine Dion song, and it's just breaking glass. It's when someone breaks out a Celine Dion song, and you can actually hear the hull of the cruise ship crack from their voice because it was so bad. Love Neil, but hate that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Who would win in a 1-versus-1 pitchy poo? Let the Tobias Harris stuff go. It's okay to let it go. There's a new karaoke song. If it existed when I hosted it, I'm sure it would have been sang. I bet you a lot of people sing a karaoke now. Let it go. Mitchy Poo, sing me some "Let It Go." This is the magic of Phil's show when it goes completely left. I think it's going right, and then it goes left. I think it's going in one direction. Then a squirrel runs out in front of your car. You try to swerve to minute, and you roll your car over 27 times. I'm sure hearing a bad singer sing Queen would be fun. I don't remember too much Queen being on the menu. for karaoke. I'm sure it was in the karaoke book, and I'm sure they could have sang it, but I'm not sure I remember too much Queen being sung on karaoke nights. What, we want another? You want me to give another Cherry shout out? You're responding to Mitchie's poo. Who's better, David R. Cherry or Queen or Tobias Harris? Oh my God, I don't even know what's going on anymore, guys. What in the holy hell is going on here with this show? You are correct, sir. Eric, yes, guys. Let's not. David R. Cherry hasn't upped his pay. All right, to EOP in the Training the AM. Okay, we can't give him too much credit and too much press. Okay, he's paying for X amount of time. We don't need to keep pumping on. We're going to try to get David R. Cherry on this show or on one of my shows at some point here in the not too dear future, or not too distant future. That was an awesome squirrel. What would each team's karaoke song be? Dancing on My Own is too. Look, dude, I hope they don't bring it back this year. I hope they don't. I'm over it. I haven't rocked my Dancing on My Own shirt since the Phillies got knocked out of the playoffs last year. And I won't wear it again. I've got it. But I'm not wearing it anymore. I have retired Dancing on My Own. And honestly, quite frankly, maybe this is a hot take, Brett. Maybe this will piss people off. Maybe this will get me canceled. Dancing on My Own is the worst song in the world. I hate it. And I never liked it before it became the Phillies theme or anthem for the last 2 years. I find Dancing on My Own a terrible song. It resonates with me zero. I don't think the music's good. I think the lyrics are mediocre at best. I don't like it. I don't like it. Dancing on My Own sucks. And if you came to my karaoke stand and said, I want to sing it, I'd say no. And I've only said no to like 3 people in 2 years of hosting karaoke. And they were all because they were too smashed drunk and falling over when they tried to sing. We need a reset? I'll get to it. Give me a minute. We'll get to the reset. I'm old enough where, there it is. That was, now there's a theme. Now there's an anthem for your team. That is an anthem. Hot take. Yeah, exactly. Dancing on My Own's terrible. What is worse, Dancing on My Own or Dancing on My Own? What's worse, Dancing on My Own or Tobias Harris? There you go, Mitchie Poo. I would take Tobias Harris back on the Sixers on a cheap deal versus hearing the Phillies play Dancing on My Own in the locker room ever again. There. You want a hot take? There's a hot take for you right there. Right up Mitchie Poo's avenue. Dreams and Nightmares? You know what? There's another one. That was the thing a few years ago. Wasn't that with the Sixers, not with the Eagles, was it? Maybe it was the Eagles. And Meek Mill became like the mascot for Philly when that came out. First off, Meek Mill's overrated. Dreams and Nightmares is not bad. But let me tell you something. I'm not a Meek Mill fan. They made way too big of a deal out of Meek Mill. Yeah. Phil besmirched the name of Dan. No, I don't think there's besmirching. There's no besmirching. Me speaking facts on Dancing My Own, just because you guys all got behind it. If it was not the Phillies anthem 2 years ago, would 90% of Philly even know what the song Dancing on My Own was? No, because it was a terrible song. Tobias back for the max. Hell yeah, maybe I'll take Tobias Harris on a max contract over hearing that. That's pushing it. I don't want Tobias on a max. The only thing that I would take Dancing on My Own over is a max contract for Tobias Harris. I don't know if that's a poll. And I have run polls on Dancing on My Own before that it needs to be retired. Even before last season, I think I ran that poll big out. It's a terrible song. It makes just on a straight musical perspective, it is not a song I would even know what it is if it wasn't the Phillies anthem. Eagles came out in the Super Bowl to Dreams and Nightmares. Yeah, but I think it became really big when he got out of jail and he was flying to Sixers games and they were playing it, and I think it had something to do with the Sixers and as well. It's all right. Sacrilege. I mean, maybe. Is it a mortal sin versus a venial sin? I don't know. The shiny suit man is a fan. Yeah. Never liked it. I hope you're agreeing with both song choices that I don't like. I just don't relate to the modern era of hip hop and rap and whatnot, even on the Dreams and Nightmares. Like, nobody that started in the hip hop industry post 2010 I even remotely enjoy. Anything after 2000 is meh at best. Remember, I'm 43 going on 44. I grew up in the era of mid 90s hip hop and rap, the Coolio era, Bone Thugs. That's what I grew up with. Really good stuff. To be fair, here is the real karaoke. To be fair, here's the real Phillies High Hopes, Eagles flight song, 76ers. Yeah, exactly. High Hopes. And still one of my favorite things ever found. It's found at a thrift store by my brother. It's a Harry Callis portrait drawn. It's not a drawing. It's the words of High Hopes into the shape of Harry Callis right there. Found at a thrift store for like $5 by my brother. Right there. The most amazing thing I've ever seen right there. Is the cappuccino's kicking. Is cappuccino's, it's an espresso. So she made me a peanut butter latte. So that would be a cappuccino and espresso the same thing? I don't even know. It doesn't even fit the theme. It doesn't. Not at all. I'm sure the Phillies have a new song just like they have a new dances when they get on base. Yeah, the whole they always got something. They got the money thing, the this thing. What do they got this year? I don't even know. Does Big Al like Pac? I don't know. Why don't you ask him? Philly's definitely a Chub Rock Chub. What? You missed it. You must have stepped away. You missed the cherry bomb. I did get new ink. I already put it up on the screen, a picture of it. Not going to put it up again. TMC, it was epic. It was, yeah. You have this pick too? I never found it, never saw it. My brother found it at a thrift store for like $5, and it's my pride and joy. I love that thing right there. I'll meet you at the Crossroads. Great song, man. Great album. Crossroads was such a great album. I played that so much when I was a kid. So much. They're on my alerts on my Sirius XM. Like, I might get when if you look at the alerts on my Sirius XM in my car, yeah, one of my alerts is Billy Joel. Yeah, the next one is Bone Thugs. It's just the hip hop artists that are alerts on my car are Coolio, Bone Thugs, Tupac, and Snoop. They're the hip hop rap artist alerts that I have on my phone. And of course, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles for a little bit more old school R&B and stuff like that. TMCT, the Tat launched this whole musical digression, and it's been glorious. Yeah. I mean, we're not even talking Eagles or Phillies anymore. We're talking about music and tattoos. But that's what we do. That is what we do. That's what happens. I keep bumping the cord. Missed it. That's what happens. Me too. I mean, the first alert I set every time, something happens and my alerts disappear on my car because I find Tupac and I set it. If the channels on my presets, the channels that aren't, that people wouldn't expect me to have, Sirius XM Fly, Rock the Bells, and of course now it's called Smokey Robinson Old or R&B or whatever it's called now. They changed the name of it, the Soul Channel. I love Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes. I haven't even thought of that name. I was more a Coolio guy, but Busta was good too. Good actor too. I'm going to miss everybody. Going to miss everybody. Pray and we pray and we pray every day. All right, guys, let's do that quick reset for Adam here. You guys are watching Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We're live. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Make sure you hit those like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow buttons. And guys, make sure if you need somewhere to go and you're in the Ridley Park area today, this week, anytime soon, go check out my friends over at Dolan's Bar. Great place to hang out, watch a game, get some great food, great drinks, great music, great times. Go check them out. Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park, 19078, right off I-95, south of the Philly Airport. For 65 years, they've thrived off of one reason. They're great patrons who are like family. Again, check them out. 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park, my old stomping grounds. Tell PJ that EOP, Trending in the AM, sent you. You can check them out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Dolan'sBar.com. Dolan's Bar, Ridley Park, an area legend for 65 years. Oh, my goodness gracious, guys. Right back to comments. What was played more on the box? Gangster's Paradise or Amish Paradise? I've never seen the Weird Al movie yet. I know it's out there on streaming services, but I kind of want to see it. Amish Paradise was great, but Gangster's Paradise was great. And that movie with Michelle Pfeiffer, was it Michelle Pfeiffer played in it? That movie that it was from, off the soundtrack of, was a fire movie. It really was. It really was pretty banging right there. Yeah, you guys, I love you. Put your hands where my eyes can see. Phil, if you lose the rights to Train the Aim, I nominate Trending in the. First off, I'm never losing the rights. Trending the Aim's mine. Mine. It's all mine. It's all mine. I'm a Trending in the DMs. Not really a DMer, I don't really trend in people's DMs. It's good. Ratcliffe is a good actor. Roku movie is worth a watch. It's on Roku. I just bought 2 Roku TVs, so maybe I get it. I don't know. Dangerous Minds is the name of that movie from that Gangster's Paradise. Fantastic movie, honestly. Like late 90s. Great movie. Very stereotypical, for sure, of that era style of movie. And it was like, there are a lot of movies like that, trying to get out of the gang areas of your town and whether you can make it or not. And that kind of theory and every single drama in the 90s had an episodic TV drama, had an episode where a cop was going undercover as a teacher, and everyone did it. It's very stereotypical. But it doesn't make, just because it was a stereotypical movie does not make it a good movie and a meaningful movie, for sure. I don't know if I'm the pimp. Pimp's got to have a good backhand, keep their people in line. I'm not really a backhander. I'm a front-hander, so that's abuse. No, never mind. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole there. What's your prediction for the Rangers series? The Texas Rangers? Are the Phillies playing the Texas Rangers this week? Let me check the Phillies schedule. I don't think they're playing the Texas Rangers this week. Oh, they are. Shit. I was about to I thought you were making an NHL analogy. Here I am making a joke. The problem is, I don't realize your joke was actually serious. I thought you were asking about the New York Rangers. No, we play the Texas Rangers Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the Phillies. We'll get into that tomorrow. I haven't really done any. I knew the Phillies were off today, so I didn't even look at who the Phillies were playing next. I thought you were asking me if I had a prediction for the NHL playoffs. I don't even know if the Rangers are still in the playoffs. But here I am thinking you're asking about the NHL. You're not. You're actually asking for the Phillies. So I will give a Rangers prediction and thought tomorrow when the Phillies actually start that series, because I haven't even looked at the Rangers line and chalk. That's right. There was a bunch of teachers change inner city schooling movies in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. And every single TV show had at least one angle. One episode, at least. 21 Jump Street. Walker, Texas Ranger. You name it. Every cheesy show. Every cheesy drama had something going on like this, for sure. Phil trading the Festivus pole for a Pimp King. Yeah. I'll just put a little hook on the top of my Festivus pole. Yeah, I got you. I can see Phil being a windmill guy over a front hand or back hand. I don't believe in hitting anybody. Phil, what in a hoagie? You're really trying to randomly change the topics today. This is what I go with. Guys, is this what I wake up at 6:30 in the morning for? Is this what I wake up for? I wake up every day to be asked questions about what is a hoagie? Stand and Deliver with Edward, James, and Lou Diamond. Is that Lou Diamond Phillips? My goodness gracious. What's up, Brian? Welcome to the comments section, as always, Brian. Brian texted me, and and Brian wants to be part of the core 12. This is 4 times in the last 6 shows that Brian has commented. So I think, guys, is 4 out of 6 enough to be indoctrinated into the core 12? I think it's good enough. Plus, he gets my vote because he had to live with me for a year in college. So, he gets bonus points for that. Back to the conversation at hand, guys. We got the final 30 minutes of this show. Let's get back onto real sports talk. Let's get back to real sports conversation. I do want to bring up something here. And this is a little off the Phillies and Eagles topics directly, but it does get into the conversation of sports. I want to show a video here. I'm finding it on my Twitter page because I shared it out, and I want to share this. Give me a second here, and I want to know if you guys like this or not. Okay, let me hit pause there, unmute that so you guys can hear the volume on this. I think I did this right, guys. I want you guys to watch this video here, okay? And I want to tell you guys to tell me if you like. This is coach of the Miami Marlins, Skip Shoemaker, talking about Phillies former prospect, who was traded to the Marlins in the JT Realmuto trade. But he was talking about his own player. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this.
Start with Sixto in the first. Obviously, the struggles in the first inning have really been a pattern this season. But today, in particular, what do you think led to that struggle with command?
I don't know, but that's unacceptable in the first inning. So if he wants to start at this level, he's going to have to be better in the first inning. It's just what it is. We had a heart-to-heart underneath, and so did Stott. It was better, obviously, the second through the fourth inning, but he's put us in a hole early. And this level, it's tough to come back from 4 runs.
I hope you guys could hear that. But anyway, for those that were listening to that, Skip Shoemaker, manager, how would we feel if Rob Thompson or Nick Sirianni, we've talked about this in the past. We want our players and our coaches to be more honest with us. Skip Shoemaker just goes out there and flat out said he's got to be better. Basically said, Sixto Sanchez, you stink right now. You're not doing your job. He used those words. It is unacceptable to go out there and pitch like that. And he's getting a lot of flack on social media for throwing his player under the bus to the media. When asked about Sixto Sanchez, what's he supposed to say? What's he supposed to say? Oh, well, he'll get him next time. I actually like when a manager openly holds a player. He didn't say he effing sucks. He says it's unacceptable. He's got to be better. He did it in such a professional way, answering a question about a player. I love it. And I know a lot of people hate it. And I'd love to know whether you guys agree or disagree with how Skip Shoemaker, I don't know if it's tried to fire up his team, fire up Sixto Sanchez or whatnot. And I know it's not Phillies directly related, but it does go back to John's questions earlier about trades for the Phillies and trading prospects. Everybody was against trading Sixto Sanchez for JT Realmuto. We all see how that. We traded Sixto Sanchez and Jorge Alfaro, the catcher. And look what that. Alfaro's playing, I think, in freaking like Mexico right now or something like that. He's not in the majors, I don't think. And Sixto Sanchez hasn't pitched well yet and has been hurt his entire career. So prospects are just that, prospect. So trade away any of them. I don't care. But a manager calling out their player like that, I love it. And I wish more teams would do it. I remember the lady that would not tell Phil what she wanted in her hoagie. Oh, you're asking for pizza shop talk. Welcome to the Court 12. That's right. Brian, you're officially in. Phil, know how to show video. Let's go. I know how to do a lot of things. Show a Hulkster video? What? No. I hear it. He sounds like a man, a leader. I can get behind that. Yeah, me personally. Like, I want my coach to not sugarcoat it. That's just me. And I dislike how much flack he's getting for speaking honestly. he did it in like a professional way too. Like, I spoke with him already, and I guess whoever Stott is maybe the pitching coach. Bryson Stott's the only Stott I know, but he used the name Stott, probably the pitching coach of the Marlins. They spoke with him, told him he's got to be better. He did it in such a smart way. I get behind it. And if anything, that could help build team chemistry a little bit. Our coach is going to hold us accountable. I mean, we're not supposed to show clips, but game clips are pretty bad. Game clips can definitely get you some dings on YouTube. Videos can sometimes too. But right now I'm not too worried about it. He pretty much said he effing sucks. He did, but he did it in the right way. He didn't say he sucks. He said he's got to be better, and it's unacceptable. There's a big difference between you suck and your performance is unacceptable. You suck is bashing. Your performance is unacceptable is holding a player accountable. And I think the sports world needs more people to be held accountable. Players, coaches, all across the board. These young kids take constructive criticism as hate. I make it to a point to teach my kids to comprehend the difference. Fair, very, very great comment here from you, Eric. 100% accurate. All right? Kids these days can't take constructive criticism. They can't. It's participation trophy era. And I know every time I say that, it opens up a can of worms. But I love it. I love what Skip Schumacher said there. How much don't know you need to show wrestling clips? No, what? Sports Dead Zone is a month. It's already in a dull month, dead zone. Not after the UFL Championship, already in the dead zone. And I think I did a good job filling the dead zone with two excellent guests last week. And Buddy Walters and Mark Perner, just so you know. After Rangers, we get to play the loser organization, the Rockies. Yeah. So are the Rangers good this year? I don't even know. It says Alfaro is playing for the Boston Red Sox. Oh, okay. I thought I saw he went to some out of the country league for a little while. Maybe that was in the off season. But Jorge Alfaro didn't turn into some stud catcher, and Sixto Sanchez was a bust, or has been so far, mainly because of injuries. But I get it. Sirianni should have come out and said, "Lori forced these shitty coordinators like Patricia on me. That was unacceptable." Using the word forced is talking isn't doing the constructive criticism angle. He let his team know that there is a standard that needs to be met in order to perform for his team. Yeah, love it, Eric. And you look at the Phillies and how they're playing right now. And Rob Thompson's not that kind of guy that's going to throw people under the bus. And maybe that's not the way to always make it in sports. But you got to set a standard as a team, and you got to hold them to it. My question would be, if he goes out and pitches poorly again, will they step up? I mean, Nick Nurse did it earlier this year when Joel Embiid was out, and he said, "I want more out of Paul Reed and Mo Bamba. One of them needs to step up," and neither of them did. So it doesn't always work. It's not only the kids; it's in everyday life, work, politics, sports, arguments, etc. Absolutely, absolutely agree. Constructive criticism can't be given. You're a hater, or you're being mean. The boss has no power in any walk of life anymore over the employee. They don't. The employees run the asylum, not the employer. In sports, in management, in life, everywhere. Kids in a household with parents. Players can't take constructive criticism. You know about Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson, right? That's every generation. Okay? Phil, you said you wanted honesty. No, I do want the honesty. That's a different. But what I'm talking about is a different level of honesty. We're talking about accountability, not you don't go, the owner gave me this shit. By the way you phrased it, you're telling Nick Sirianni to make an excuse for the loss. to rephrase it in this situation, Nick Sirianni should have said, yeah, Sean Desai, Matt Patricia, and Brian Johnson needed to do better. They did not do good enough in their roles. Not deflecting the blame to somebody like Jeffrey Lurie. They need to do better. They failed in their job. That's all. That's how you take what you said and put it in the Skip Schumacher angle, if that makes sense. NFL needs to get to 18 games. Yeah, sure. I mean, we've talked about that a lot. That's out of left field. If the Marlins weren't struggling as they are, would it be as blunt? Well, that's excellent. That's an excellent point, Big Al. I'm sure, Big Al, you probably sort of agree with me that the honesty is okay. But the honesty on a losing team is okay because you're trying to get the team to the top. Okay, you're trying to get the team back on track. You're trying to turn the tides of a team. Now, if Rob Thompson came out there and said Taijuan Walker sucks or something like that, or Kyle Schwarber's got to stop striking out or something like that on a team that's already winning, it might be the wrong timing to do it. Timing on what Schumacher has done is also very important and key. I want honesty, but you don't want to break a clubhouse that's winning. Shaking up a clubhouse that's losing is something that could turn the tides on a team to an extent as well. And also, when your team is as bad as the Marlins, I mean, what's going to happen? It can't get any worse. What are the Marlins right now? You know, the last I looked, their record was horrendous. The Marlins are 15-33. They have won 31% of their games. Oh my God! They only got a one game. They've only lost their last game. Yeah, well, they're 5-5 in their last 10. That means they were 10-20, 28. Man, the Marlins are some bad baseball team. So it's easier to do that and have that philosophy on a bad team for sure. Phillies whooped the Nationals. No shit they did. And they pitched and played Alec Boehm. People saying he's making a case. People are talking about Alec Boehm making a case to make the All-Star team. I think Alec Boehm has already locked up that All-Star vote. Alec Boehm better be the starting third baseman in the All-Star game. We're probably, 6 weeks away, 7 weeks away from that? He better be the starting third baseman in the All-Star game. And that would be a huge moment right there for him. Huge, huge moment. As the future goes, so does the world. Yeah. Steinbrenner fired Billy Martin how many times? Yes, Billy Martin from there. Okay, gotcha. I was trying to think about that. Mike Schmidt, Philadelphia is the only city where you can experience the thrill of victory and the agony of reading about it the next day. Players, Schmidt and Carlton especially, always hated criticism. I never heard that Mike Schmidt quote, Brett, but yeah. But it's different when you're winning. When you're losing, when you got a 300 winning percentage, it's different. When you're a hot shot prospect and you're terrible, yeah. When it's terrible day in and day out, Schmidt and Carlton were winners. Had a proven track record. Yeah, we know. Best team in baseball. Best record in baseball. I know that. White Sox stink. Yep, so who cares? Are we just getting a whole breakdown of the MLB standings in the comment from TMZ? Did we get an update on Trey Turner? I heard 6 weeks, but we got to be at 3 to 4? I think it's been about 3 weeks. They said 6 to 8 weeks for Trey Turner. From the games I watched, Joe, this weekend, which I watched pretty much all of Saturday and Sunday's game and a little bit of Friday's game, there were video footage clips shown of Trey Turner running, not sprinting, but running in the outfield, fielding ground balls. They're saying that they don't think it'll take the full 6 weeks now. So instead of it being 6 to 8 weeks, if we're at week 3 now, we might be a week and a half to 2 weeks away from Trey Turner being back. They're saying now more like the 5 to 6 week. And Brett, if you're still in the comments, a hamstring issue like Trey Turner had. What are the risks of him coming back too soon? If you push him too soon. If you re-injure a hamstring issue by coming back too soon, does it make the second recovery more detailed or more complex? Does re-injuring it if you come back too soon cause any extra damage? Brett, we're going to ask Brett that question right now. Schumacher, if he's fired by the Marlins, guaranteed he's hired immediately by the Cardinals. Yeah. Yeah, Schumacher don't care also, and that's a fair point. Schumacher is at the point where it's like, I'm coaching the worst team in baseball. I've been given the worst roster in baseball. Who cares? But I like that. To an extent, I would have liked to have seen Nick Sirianni be like that towards the entire Eagles roster during the collapse last year. Not toward the coordinators, per se, but maybe to the coordinators a little bit as well. Nick Sirianni needed a little bit of that Schumacher attitude when the wheels were falling off last year. Nick Nurse tried it with some of the lesser players, i.e. Paul Reed and Mo Bamba. It didn't help, but he tried it. Schumacher should call David Archeri. He's got a case for malpractice because of the team he was given by the Marlins to coach. Phil, as I go through the records, I have heard of every team now. Oh, okay. So you hadn't even heard of some of those teams before. Gotcha. Ryan Leaf, Jim Everett, Jim Room, Deion Sanders, Tim McCarver. Athletes get feelings hurt when being criticized since the beginning of sports. Yeah. The best athletes, the ones that can succeed the most, can accept that criticism, learn from that criticism, and become better. I need sports to watch. Baseball is scraping bottom of the barrel, brother. Baseball's great. Nothing better than watching a baseball game. Love it. Do not rush him back. Let him heal. It could be a nagging injury. I agree with you, Big Al, on that. Hamstrings and back injuries, you rush them back, and then it becomes a lingering problem. We don't need the hamstring lingering as an issue come October, plain and simple. But also on the flip side, if a team has a player and their doctors clear him, even if it's a week early, they're going to play him. I get that. My question to Brett is, should they? Should they do that? It doesn't hurt to give him. When your team is winning at the pace that the Phillies are, what harm would one extra week really cause? If the scar tissue in the hamstring tear isn't fully strong enough and he tears it again, it resets the clock at the very least. With a weaker muscle under force, the risk for worse injury goes up. So, yeah, here you go. So there is an issue that the injury could be worse the second time around if you do rush him back. Hamstring injuries are like, I'd rather a player break his collarbone or break a finger. Yeah, like a physical, like muscle issues and tears and strains. They just always link, especially in Philly. It probably happens in other cities. But I feel like this is kind of an injury that's just got linger written all over it. There's always lacrosse. Did the PLL championship happen this weekend? I think I read the PLL championship happened this weekend. Maybe I'm wrong on that. John Tortorella called out Sean Couturier last year and sat him for 2 games for not playing up to his potential. And didn't that start the collapse for the Flyers, Adam? Oh, man, there's an answer on how it didn't help a team. Isn't that what caused the collapse for the Flyers? John Tortorella's tough attitude. Tough attitude coaches don't last in one city for very long. They never do. Especially a shortstop that has to run and cover more space, and a guy that uses his speed to steal bases, get doubles and triples all the time. A hamstring issue is something you just don't want to risk. Not at all. You could do that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it really makes that much. I just rest him one extra. Don't rush him back. If he was originally 6 to 8 weeks, and he's ready in that 5 to 6 week range, just make him sit the full 6 weeks, 6.5 weeks. Why not? There's a saying in sports medicine: it's better to fracture your ankle than badly sprain it because bones heal in 6 to 8 weeks, no matter what. Yeah, absolutely. I get this saying, and I agree with it. If the Phillies were losing, I could see, hey, we're going to get him back since they've been winning as much as they have. Let him rest until until the All-Star game. I mean, that John, that might be pushing it a little bit. That might be pushing it. I don't know if he needs to rest. I just hit the wrong button there. I don't know if you got to waste them that or rest them that long. I don't know if that itself is necessary. But it can't hurt. Can't hurt at all. Have we talked about Jordan Davis drastically changed body type? Did he drastically change his body type? Did I miss something on Jordan Davis? I will say I did look it up this morning to remind myself. Today is day one of OTAs, voluntary OTAs for the Eagles. Today, Wednesday and Thursday are voluntary camps. I'm curious for the Eagles, and this is an Eagles question. I'm curious. It's voluntary. Last year, 2021, all of Nick Sirianni's OTAs were all voluntary. This year, they have the June 4th through 6th mandatory camp. The last 2 years with all the voluntary camps, pretty much everybody showed up to all of them. This year, because Nick Sirianni is making a statement, you have to come to this one. Does that make some of them not show up this week for voluntary OTAs? Monday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. Then the 28th, 30th, 31st. Those are your days of OTAs that are voluntary for the Eagles. He looks slimmed down and in good shape. Well, that's massive. I'm writing his name down on my notebook here. You know what's funny? I wrote down 0 notes for the show, but now my book is completely full. Or my page is completely full. Literally had no notes written down for today. For those that don't know, that comment came right after this. And then it went to this. I had jumped around for a second. That is interesting. Interesting. Jordan does not have his belly showed it off. So it's at the Eagles autism run. Okay, gotcha. I was like, I didn't see it, so I don't know. But that's very interesting. This is a very bad conversation we're about to get into. Book of bearded knowledge. What? I'm not writing a book. Trust me on that. Hurts will be there every day. First in, last out. I don't doubt that, Adam. I don't doubt it. But do some of the guys choose not to show up? Now, I'd hope new offense coordinator, new defensive coordinator, everybody shows up. I hope. But again, we're talking about, holding players accountable and stuff like that. Nick Sirianni's holding them accountable by making one of the group of 8 OTA days mandatory this year. Do they get upset by say, we're forced to do it, so we're not going to do the others? Where in other years, it's like, it's all voluntary. Oh, we'll all be part of the team. But you're going to force us this year. So the non-forced ones, we're going to skip. I'm curious. I hope, I expect Jalen Hurts there for all of them. I expect A.J. Brown there for all of them. I think Devonta Smith's having a baby. I don't know when his baby's due. So maybe he misses one if that's anytime this summer or anytime soon. But outside of that, do people like Jalen Carr and Jordan Davis show up for them all? I don't know. I think it's an interesting thought there on the OTAs that are happening this week. But I will check out Jordan Davis's look because that was new. What's up, Brad? How you doing today? Number 1 in the Major League Baseball standings, the Phillies. Of course they are. They're the best damn team in baseball, Brad. And it's time that people stop saying, well, they play a weak schedule, and start saying, respect the team that is not just beating everybody, dominating. They have, not only are they beating up on bad teams, biggest run differential in baseball right now. Gotta love it. Jonathan, what's up, my man? Who's winning the title first? Well, this must be the year the Phillies win a title with Ranger at his best and Stottenbaum hitting well as key players. I think the Phillies. Yeah, if all goes right, the Phillies should. I think the reason why I phrased it the way I did, Jonathan, was to see if people really, truly think the Phillies can win a World Series this year. And you're joining the show late. You're joining in the final 5 minutes. We talked about trade candidates, holes on this team. We've just spent some time talking about Trey Turner, and bringing them back too soon or not. I won't lie, Brad. I didn't do much research for the Rangers series yet because I knew we had an off day today. We will talk about that tomorrow. I don't even know the pitching matchups yet and stuff like that. I haven't gone into it. With baseball season being a daily thing, I normally wait till the day the series starts to really talk about the series itself or the game itself. I won't even really look at the whole series for tomorrow. I'll look at the game tomorrow, which I think Rangers on tap to start tomorrow, Brad. But I just ballparking it, throwing it out there. I would expect the Phillies to win 2 out of 3. I would. That's how good they are. Okay, Phil, they aren't just beating up on bad teams. They are beating up on mediocre teams. Well, when you are the best team in baseball, isn't everybody a lesser team than you? When you have 34 wins at this point in the season, when you got a 706 winning percentage, aren't all the teams lesser than you? Aren't all the teams mediocre compared to you? Is anybody asking or saying the Dodgers haven't beaten anybody? Is anybody saying the Yankees haven't beaten anybody? Just curious. Read my article post about Justin Simmons coming on the Eagles. That rumor's still floating around out there. Yeah, please. Links to my PayPal, my Venmo down below. I accept tips, donations, all kinds of things. It costs money to put this off every single morning. Still need 2 bullpen arms. I think at least one. You either need 2 bullpen arms or you need an elite closer. One or the other. Either go after whoever the A's closer is, wherever the best available closer is, and overpay if you've got to, or go get 2 complementary pieces. But I don't like our closer situation as is, especially come playoff time. Ranger starts tomorrow. That's good. We were just talking about Trey Turner just before you joined the show. And make sure you join us every single morning. We are here live, 8 a.m. Hit the follow button on this channel if you'd like. Like the video if you can. The rumor is the 6 to 8 week window is now looking like more to 5 to 6. But so we're getting positive early update, opportunity returns on Trey Turner. But we're discussing, do we want to force him back too soon? Do we want to rush him back? Do we want to rush a hamstring issue? We're winning right now. Giving him an extra week isn't going to set us back too far. That's our opinion on it. So the update is he might be back in less than 6 weeks. But is it worth it? Is it smart to do it? Eric, with huge bonus hour cat. Yeah, I wish. I don't, but if you want to tell me how to take it, I'll accept some from you if you tell me how to. Backup catcher is an interesting one, Big Al. And we're coming up to the final 2 minutes of the show, and it's something that I'm going to write it down. I want to jump into this a little bit more. It's talking about backup catchers is the dumbest thing in the world, but also kind of interesting. It goes into the culture. Stubby is literally we've had some bad backup catchers in the history of Philadelphia. Steve Lake, Todd Pratt, Chris Coast. We all, just like we fall in love with the backup quarterback, we fall in love with the backup catcher. But also on the flip side, as long as JT Realmuto stays healthy, doesn't matter who the backup catcher is if it helps the locker room culture. And it goes to talk about a poll I ran and a conversation I ran on Twitter. Does culture in the locker room matter more in baseball than any other sport? And the poll results said yes, but the comments said no. That culture means nothing in baseball because baseball is an individual sport. And I think that might be the topic that kicks off the show tomorrow before we get sidetracked talking something completely random like we did today. Juan Soto's on fire. Is he? I'll have to look. I haven't really paid too much attention. Sal Fasano, there's another great name right there. Backup catcher. We fall in love with the backup catcher. I could do a 1K, but that's going to set me back quite a bit. I got a mortgage to pay now, man. Would you have a $50 in Bitcoin or just give me $50 in Bitcoin? Sure. I still kick myself in the ass for not buying that because I don't trust that stuff, but whatever. Andrew Knapp, Turkey Bacon. Wasn't Cameron Rupp nicknamed Turkey Bacon in AAA Lehigh? Random Phil is best Phil. What is greater, randomness Phil or fired up rant Phil? I think fired up rant Phil is better than random Phil, but whatever. Guys, we're going to wrap up the show right there. Make sure you guys are hitting the follow right here on EOP. Here is this week's lineup. Obviously, later today, Football Smack Talk show, talking Philly sports with that cute little dude, Matty B. And Party on Broad at 9 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow, Train the AM Fairway to Heaven at 6 o'clock with EOP's own Steve from the Union team. Join us to talk Xander Schauffele's big win, to talk Scotty Scheffler's arrest, and talk this week's Charles Schwab Challenge. Dude, look at this. 27 shows on the channel this week. 7-day-a-week program. Make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're tuning into all the great shows, all the great creators and show hosts and contributors on EOP. Check out the website, eopsports.com, for their articles and stuff like that. You don't want to miss it at all. Rantville is fired. Exactly. Eric Kratz. There's another great backup catcher. Turkey Bacon was Eric Kratz. We're enamored with it. But it's Stubby good to have on the Phillies because of the culture of the baseball locker room. Because while baseball is an individual sport, I think the culture of the locker room is important in baseball. That's going to be tomorrow's kickoff topic. I've wrote it down. I've circled it twice. Thank you, Adam. I greatly appreciate you. Fired up Phil versus Rookie of the Year Ben Simmons or expired contract payoff Tobias Harris. It's always fired up Phil. Fired up Phil always wins, right? Guys, I got to wrap it up right there. Trend the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow button. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't have any guests lined up this week. I have one guest I'm working on a date for. Really fun guest. Way off the wall guest. Who's a huge Philly sports fan and specifically Phillies fan. But he's halfway famous. So we're going to have him on. We're still trying to schedule. He's a teacher. And we're trying to get him on the show as soon as his school year ends. And we do try to have some fun guests like we did last year during the dead zone of sports. So if there's someone you'd like me to try to get on, hit me up in my DMs. Hit me up in a private message, and I will try to get the guests on. We'll see. We'll see what's next. But, guys, we'll be back tomorrow with some locker room culture talk, with some more Phillies, with some more Eagles, maybe some more Sixers, maybe some more Flyers. We'll see. But everybody have a great Monday. We'll see you right here. Same channel, same time tomorrow, guys. Go Birds, and ring that bell.